I'm Blaine Primozic, Associate Vice President of Workforce and Continuing Education. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Fall 2023 State of the College Address. So it's really great to see this turnout. Just after the pandemic, all this return back to campuses. So it's an exciting semester to kick off. Just so many things have happened over the summer. We know we kind of changed our starting schedule, our enrollment's up. The state had all kinds of drama, just to kind of give you a teaser for the president's address coming up. But I hope you also had a wonderful day just connecting with your colleagues, re-energizing, recentering for the rest of the fall semester. We know it's gonna be a great semester with our students back with us. So lots of wonderful news coming up. But I hope today you also join me in reflecting on just how far we've come. So the other day, surprise visit from a group from the Higher Education Coordinating Board, Commissioner Keller. I'm gonna tie this all in, so bear with me. But giving the tour, and it begins that reflection on just how many people at the state level, at the national level, are coming to EPCC to see what we do and how we've accomplished what we've accomplished, and just looking out across a parking lot at new buildings, new facilities, thinking about how many programs we've added over the years. And it gets me started on something that I was asking AVP Mo that pops up a lot in introductions and presentations in the college. We talk a lot about visionary leadership. And so sometimes just, what does that mean? And sometimes it's easier just to look at the evidence. It's looking out across the parking lot and seeing the effects of a master plan, new buildings, new programs, new facilities, upgrades to our classrooms across, and just looking at all the work that's been done. So from our staff, our faculty, our cabinet members, our deans, our president, our board. So we've been blessed with a very engaged and caring board of trustees that have helped lead us out of the pandemic and to all of this, who gave us a 6% salary increase. But I also want to say we've been blessed with a very engaged and caring president. And so thinking back to our new faculty orientation the other day, it dawned on me just how many new faculty we have, how many new staff we've added. Plug for everybody out there, your contracts just came out, so again, that's 6%. But also, every time I open up Facebook, and yes, I'm old enough that I'm still on Facebook, EPC's hiring. And so always thinking about how many people we're adding to the college. And it dawned on me that I'm here to introduce the president of the State of the College Address. But I thought, for so many of you, I think it's time we introduce the president. So many of us don't really know the work that gets done, the outreach, the partnerships that have been built, the doors that open for the rest of us to do the fantastic and amazing work that we do, and that the president is always, first and foremost, pointing out to the rest of us, always putting everyone in front. So I just want to take a little bit of a moment here. I'm going to read from the EPCC website bio for Dr. Serrata, just a portion of it. And yeah, he's gonna kill me later. And I'm also old enough that I can't wear glasses and read at the same time. So, as president of EPCC, he has been recognized for his leadership in higher education at the local, regional, and national levels. Dr. Serrata is an active member of the El Paso community and currently serves as a board member for Workforce Solutions Borderplex, board of directors for the Greater El Paso Chamber of Commerce, board of directors for the El Paso branch of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas, and chair of the board for the El Paso Collaborative for Academic Excellence. At the state level, Dr. Serrata serves as chair for the Texas Association of Community Colleges, the TACC, co-chair of the TACC Business Advisory Council, chair of the TACC Texas Success Center Advisory Committee, past chair of the Texas Student Success Council convened by Educate Texas, and currently on the board of directors for Humanities Texas. And then at the national level, Dr. Serrata serves on the board of directors for the Lumina Foundation, has previously served as chair of the board of directors for the American Association of Community Colleges, AACC, is the immediate past chair of the board of directors of Excellency in Education, and serves on the advisory board for the Higher Education Research and Development Institute. And then there's also the Aspen Institute Fellowship, and there's all the work that he's done with TACC and the Business Higher Education Forum. More work with Educate Texas as well with their dual credit offerings. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview for those who don't know the president and are new to the college. By way of introduction, wanted to thank him and hope all of you will join me in thanking him for all the work and support that he does for the college. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. William Serrata.
Well, thank you so much, AVP Primozic. It just reminds me I have to update that bio because I'm a has-been on several of those different fronts. And the larger point is I would have never been if it wasn't for El Paso Community College. So I get to represent each and every one of you at the state, at the regional, state, and national levels. And it's certainly my honor and my privilege to do so. By no means am I under any illusion that any of this is because of me. It's because of each and every one of you and the students that we're so fortunate and privileged to serve. But AVP Primozic, thank you. I know Pam already has the note that we need to revise that because, again, there's several that I was a member of that I'm no longer a member of, but there's other things that are more important right now, and so we want to move forward with that. First and foremost, it's really good to see so many of you in person. Let me thank Pam Payne for all of her efforts on this presentation. Good job, Pam. If there's any errors, those are mine. All of the great work, all of the visuals that you see, those are all as a part of Pam's responsibility, and she does a great job with it. I have a number of slides. And so I'm going to try to run through these as quickly as possible. It is certainly, again, it is wonderful to see. The fact that we had to lay out more chairs is wonderful. I see a couple of masks. That is not an issue whatsoever. Make sure you feel safe. Certainly understand it. I keep up with it as well. There's a variant that's out there, so I know there's a new booster that I'll be getting soon. Each and every one of you, please remain healthy. Please take care of yourselves. Do what you think is best, what you and your doctor indicate is in the best interest for each and every one of you. Let's jump right in. We're going to start with Dr. Amaya and Student Enrollment Services, the great work that they lead at the institution. AVP Primozic stole some of my thunder, so let me just touch on this a little bit more. So if you go back to the fall of 18 and 19, we were at, nearly high records of enrollment, a little over 29,000 students back in the fall of 19. We had the pandemic hit in the spring of 20. We converted. All of us moved incredibly expeditiously. We got things done, and we saw record enrollment, I'll remind everyone, in the summer of 2020. And then the fall of 2020 hit, and students said, no, this is not for me. I'm not going to do online learning. And so we saw a little over a 10% impact to enrollment. We dropped down to about 26. And then in the fall of 21, we followed that up with about another 5% decline. And then in the fall of 22, we started to inch back up. And so we went to just under 25. We're about 24.9. We're about a 1.2% increase this fall to date. And the reason I say to date is we're still enrolling students for the mini-mesters. And so the fall enrollment period isn't over, but we're at 25,260 or so. We're about another 1.5% up. We're starting to see that tide turn. And it's taken a lot of effort by each and every one of you. All of these efforts led by Dr. Amaya and his team and Student Enrollment Services, so many others. But it feels like we're starting to see that turn. By the way, our enrollment, about 2/3 of our enrollment is face-to-face. About 1/3 is online, and that number keeps diminishing. I doubt that it ever gets back to where we were, which was we were about 15% of our enrollment that was online pre-pandemic. I don't think that we get past 20. I think we'll at least be at 20% of enrollment online, but we've seen significant gains. Our faculty, as well as our staff, the fact that you're available to students, that students want to be on campus, cannot thank you enough. How do we do it? Well, let me start with Operation College Bound. This is a college-wide event that's led by Student Enrollment Services. It impacts the coordinating board's Building a Talent Strong Texas strategic plan. It showcases academic opportunities that we have throughout the region, and it provides direct access to enrollment services. So we don't just go and talk to students. We go and we take them from admissions through financial aid all the way through enrollment if they're ready to do that. We had over 60 staff members from enrollment services, student services, counseling, first-year experience, various academic departments. They went to 18 different high schools. We had other high schools that were bused in, so we were able to impact 37 different high schools from across Region 19. We saw about 1,850 students that attended, about 1,450 students enrolled for the fall, and we had another 120 or so enroll for the summer. So it's not that these things just happened, that students were just ready to come back. We've been actively out there trying to get them to come back, working hard at this. Tejano Day. These are new events that again, Student Enrollment Services has moved forward and led. This is the first ever open house for Operation College Bound attendees. We bring them here. It was over 200 students and their parents that attended. These are events to get families on campus, and it's all research-based. The number one influencer for students attending college is their parents. So if we're able to pull them and their parents onto campus, our likelihood for success with those students continues to rise. So kudos to Dr. Maya and his team. I want to thank Mr. Michael Talamantes and his team for all the great work that Recruitment Services continues to move forward. The EPCC Expo for Region 19 high school counselors, again, it's all about relationships. So we're working with those high school counselors. We get them to be champions of the college. We provide updates. The second annual expo had 102 attendees. Remember, these are primarily high school counselors that are working with those students on a daily basis to ensure that those students take that next step and enroll in college. College readiness moved forward with new EPCC college-bound flags. It's hard to believe we started our Adopt an Elementary School initiative a number of years ago. Those flags, obviously, in the El Paso heat, over time they wear out. And so we were able to provide new flags to each of the 10 elementary schools that we have adopted. We provided Explore EPCC series with Canutillo students. We had almost 300 third to fifth graders that attended. And across 46 elementary and middle school campuses in Region 19, we had 149 visits that impacted nearly 15,000 students. Again, this doesn't just happen. We work hard at it, and I want to provide the kudos to everyone for that great work. Our new student orientation and transition programs, Mr. Alex Guerrero and his team, 42 of the 57 NSO sessions were held during the winter and summer of 23. We served nearly 2,300 students. You see the approval rating. 93% of the students approved, 95 are enthusiastic about the fall term, 97 have a better understanding of student support services, all in an effort to ensure their success, and 91% of them are confident. So this is a great initiative for us to get students onto campus and to help build that. So new student orientation is not a recruitment tool, it's a retention tool. By that point, they're already here. It's our responsibility to help them stay here and facilitate their success. Again, we held an NSO Teal Bash. It was a summer party. We had about 150 students who participated. Promotes pride in our institution. It allows them to make friends, to meet classmates, and it allows us to start a new tradition. And so certainly thrilled with this, again, creating engagement opportunities on our campuses for our students to be available. Let's talk a little bit about the great work that Ms. Lopez and her team in financial aid continue to move forward. We lead the state in FAFSA applications. And again, the state passed legislation that has and requires high school seniors to fill out that FAFSA. And what we do is we continue to lead the state. So I'm thrilled with this. You see that. You see the closest region that's closest to us is Region 1 down in South Texas. We do it better. We lead the state. It also is a part of the Consolidated Appropriations Act that had the FAFSA Simplification Act. That seems like an oxymoron, FAFSA and simplification, but it's something the federal government has talked about for a long time. And I give them credit for trying to move this forward. I'm a little leery because it's not ready. And it won't be ready probably until December. And that puts us in a really tight spot to get a lot of those seniors to get those FAFSAs filled out between now and next August. The law makes it easier for students and families to complete that form, and we will continue to move forward with that. Again, events to promote engagement are getting students on our campus. The work-study program resumed. We're getting everything back to where we were pre-pandemic. That's up and running. It started this summer. Allows students to work up to 19 hours per week. You see the different initiatives, the outreach activities from the School of Architecture open house all the way to the new student orientation for center with our students with disabilities. You see the number of participants. Again, we're not going to wait for students to come to us. That's one of the things that I'm very proud of working at a community college. We go to the students. We hold events to get them to us as well. So thrilled with this. Campus Life, AD Hinojosa, I saw him earlier, and his team partnered with the CSD to celebrate the passage of ADA, of the Americans with Disability Act. They've continued to move this forward, ensuring that we have programs like Project Hire, Project Amistad, Autism Hope of El Paso. We want to make sure that we're available and that we serve all students in our community. Again, the Center for Students with Disability does great work. Ms. Lopez and her team there, they hosted a conference for 38 special education administrators to be able to have them come on campus, for them to be able to see what we have available to them as well, and to ensure that they feel comfortable transitioning those students from them to us. We want to make sure that every student has the chance to be successful, and we certainly understand that higher education is a significant part of their success. In addition, they also launched a new software system, that Glean software. And so you see what it does. It allows them to record online as well as face-to-face instruction. Many of these learners need more time, and this allows them to go back and review this material and see that once again. Project Hire, again, we're ensuring the success of all students. Project Hire, our Center for Students with Disability, in the spring of '23, we had 7 students graduate from Project Hire. It was the largest class that we've had. This fall, we have 13 students that are enrolled in the 9th cohort. Again, this is something Dr. Graham and the board are incredibly committed to. We share their commitment. We want to make sure that we facilitate success for all of our students. Our SGA continues to represent their constituents incredibly well. They awarded over $15,000 in scholarship funds to 20 different students. They were recognized as the top 3 clubs for outstanding participation during the 22-23 academic year. They held their retreat in Rio Doso, and Dr. Scott Komar, a history instructor, provided training on parliamentary procedure, as well as expectations for the officers as well as the Senate. So again, SGA doing the kind of work that they need to be focused on. Again, certainly thrilled with that. Mr. Hinojosa is busy. He's also serving as the interim director for the Tejano Mercado. He is leading that effort. Again, this is an ability and an opportunity for us to provide students with basic needs. Obviously, during the pandemic, we saw these demands increase substantially, and we wanted to make sure that we provide that to our students. We provide that much needed assistance. It's fortunate because they've received donations from students, faculty, staff, as well as grants, including that have totaled more than $10,000 that allows us to continue to move forward with this. And the Mercado ultimately allows students to keep their focus on their goal, which we believe and they believe should be graduation. So again, kudos to Adi and Ohosa and the team for ensuring that students have what they need to be successful. It's hard to learn when you're hungry. So we want to make sure that students don't have to deal with that. Again, Ms. Lopez, who's serving as our interim over career and test and transfer services, again, they have been focused on the success of all of our students. This program, the STEM Fuerte EPCC program, offered a resume presentation designed to increase the number of STEM majors. They continue to move forward. We want to make sure that students have an opportunity to major in any field that they choose. And so if STEM is what they request, we want to make sure that we're able to facilitate their success. The police department has been incredibly busy as well. Chief Ramirez and our entire police department, they're committed to the safety and security of the entire college community. They've moved forward with active shooter training. I wish we wouldn't have to do this, but it's today's reality. And so they're moving forward and they're conducting active shooter training, ensuring that they continue to move forward. We also received a grant in just over $130,000 from the state of Texas and the governor's office that provided 36 protective shields for our officers. We also move forward with purchasing ballistic helmets to ensure the safety of each of those respective officers. So thank you, Chief, and all of our police officers for the great work that you do. Also wanted to recognize all of the work that so many did and put forward during the pandemic. And during that period of time where we went from face-to-face to online to slowly coming back, I want to thank the chief as well as Mr. Padilla for moving forward and hosting a challenge coin ceremony to recognize so many of the different employees that were instrumental in ensuring the success of the college and our students as we move through the pandemic. So kudos to each of them for the great work. Let's turn over to Dr. Smith in his area and talk a little bit about the great work that instruction and workforce education continues to move forward. Our theater department, they move forward throughout. You see that in the fall of 19, the production that they hosted was My Sister in This House. And then in the spring of 20, we moved forward with The Good Doctor. I'm sure if you notice on some of those pictures, we do have some folks with face coverings and masks, but they continue to move forward. Spring of 21, fall of 22, and then 2 more productions that have taken place this past spring as well as this summer. And so I want to provide kudos to them for the great work that they do for, again, ensuring the engagement of our students. Our border health clinic and echocardiography, I've shared with you all how I had to work and practice on echocardiography. It is a great program. The program continues to complete echocardiograms that are scheduled through the border health clinic. We provided 37 echoes that were performed during the summer. And they also moved forward with the first Echo Program Open House that was held this past June on the 19th of this summer. Again, we have to make sure that we provide the equipment that our programs need. And so we were able to do through some one-time major purchases. Want to thank Mr. Flores as well as Dr. Smith and their teams for making this a reality for the institution. In July, the board approved the purchase of 2 General Electric let me see if I can see it up there better. General Electric S70N ultrasound systems. These are major equipments. They're not cheap. They're expensive equipment, but we have to be able to provide this so that our students know how to use these once they get into the hospitals or medical facilities that they're going to work in. So kudos to all of those that were involved in that. Our STEM students, I want to congratulate Dr. Castillo as well as Ms. Alhambra for the work that they did, providing our STEM students conducting summer scientific research that was at UTEP, UT Austin, in Roatan, Honduras, as well as in Costa Rica. Wonderful research projects that range from studying the effect of climate change and the development of more effective TB vaccines to the synthesis and the characterization of uranium. So for me, as an English major, those are difficult for me to even pronounce, but kudos to our students for the great research that they're moving forward with. Again, and it's not without the engagement of our faculty. So kudos for them. Our art portfolio day, I want to thank Ms. Aguilar and all of the folks involved, and salute to the arts and the great work that they did. They did the Sun Portfolio Day, which was held on the 26th of January right here in the ASC. Over 300 high school juniors and seniors, as well as home schools and private schools and EPCC students attended the event, and our instructors critiqued over 100 portfolios. Again, it's an opportunity for them to learn from the experts, our faculty, and to be able to move forward with their passion. One of our professors was invited to Kent State University. I want to provide congratulations to Professor Marco Sanchez, who was invited to Kent State University as a visiting artist. He's part of a cohort of 41 Texas-based artists, Centro de Artes in San Antonio exhibition, Soy de Texas. Professor Sanchez will also be presenting a print-making exhibition. So kudos again for the great work that our faculty and staff do and are engaged in. Our baccalaureate research training program continues to move forward. In the 2020 to 23 cycle, we had 46 STEM students who participated. The Bridges students also have higher GPAs, cumulative GPAs. The median's at 3.5, standard deviation of a 0.2. That's much more than the comparison group, where the mean was a 2.87 and the standard deviation was 1.1. Again, our students have completed more of the hours that they attempt, about 87% of those hours, compared to the comparison group of about 83. Again, these are great programs that are led by our faculty. Our Scuba Summer Research Program. You can't see it on the screen. Well, you can see it on that screen. On the one I'm looking at, you can barely see the palm trees back there, but they are back there. This was the Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation, or LSAP, Scuba Summer Research Program. Two of our students, Mia Navarrete and Kimberly Dugalde, they traveled to Honduras to participate in this student cohort. Their research projects focused on aspects of the coral reef ecosystems in the Caribbean Sea, and they conducted research with faculty from Midland College as well as UT Arlington. Again, incredible opportunities that our students deserve to have. I want to provide the kudos to our faculty for being able to provide these opportunities for our students. Dean Villalobos and his team at the Mission Del Paso campus want to provide a lot of kudos. They're moving forward with an 8-week campus kickoff. Their enrollment was up about 17% as of the 1st of August. 2/3 of their courses were offered in an 8-week hybrid format. That format, they meet face-to-face for 2 days a week for the same period of time that face-to-face classes meet, or the same period of time that MWF classes. They're doing this in a tighter time frame. It's crunched, but there's a lot of research that indicates that this facilitates student success. All 8-week hybrid courses will follow the same Blackboard shell template. That was a big part of them getting ready and ensuring that we were ready to go. And they participate in mandatory student support hours. So they have to go to tutoring, they have to go to office hours, things of that nature. Let's talk a little bit more about how they prepped for this. Again, we do things, we're going to do them right. This was a year of preparation. They began those discussions in August of 22. They visited Odessa College, who was deemed our coach in this project, back in September of 22. They submitted revised fall schedule in December, and then they were ready to move forward with the kind of professional development opportunities where they had those. The first 8-week workshop was in March. The second one was in August. I was fortunate to be able to speak to them. But 2/3 of their classes are now in an 8-week format. And we look forward to studying the results and seeing how successful that we can be in this kind of a format. You have a lot of small colleges that are moving in that format. Let me just go back to it briefly. You know, we're a large college, and so we chose to go forward with a campus as opposed to the entire district. And even with one campus, it took us a full year to be ready to go forward with it. So want to congratulate Dean Villalobos and his team for moving that forward. A couple of other things that are happening at Mission. We have new resource centers that are up and running. The Student Parent Resource Center as well as the Social Services Mental Health Center. Those are both open at MDP. You see what they do at those particular areas. I'll talk a little bit more about the Student Parent Resource Centers. We have those at each of our campuses, but want to provide a congratulations to the Mission team for getting these up and running. Tony Procel and Ms. Dalia Hajir. The Borderlands is a student-driven EPCC annual publication. It features articles on the culture and history of the greater El Paso region. And so this was our 40th volume. It took a brief look at El Paso's architecture, past and present. And you see all of the folks that were involved in this. Ms. Ajar is our lead student editor. And again, couldn't do this without Tony Purcell, who's our Northwest faculty, as well as our Borderlands faculty advisor. Another initiative that Tony's involved in, as well as Crisol Escobedo, is EPCC Cares, a great program that they continue to move forward. It's a mental health resource fair. You see that it's a committee initiative. It connects students to a local nonprofit services that specialize in providing mental health services. The pandemic brought a lot of this to the forefront. I'm sure many people were dealing with this pre-pandemic. The pandemic was stressful for everyone. And so this was something that allowed us to move forward. And I, again, cannot provide enough thanks and kudos to our team for moving these forward. There you go. I want to make sure I'm respectful. Thank you. Our behavior intervention team. So you're going to hear a whole lot about the things that Dr. Mitchell is leading, some great initiatives, this one in cooperation with Dr. Amaya. The behavior intervention team, again, we all watch the news. We see some tragic things that occur throughout the nation. It's our responsibility to be prepared for anything and everything. And so the behavior intervention team is a new developing team. You see the different things that it will move forward with. We had training through TNG Consulting as well as NABITA. That took place in July, the 26th and 27th of this year. And we provided training to 35 individuals. And then you see the core team or the inner circle meeting that was held on August the 8th. Let me share with you, I don't know what they talk about when they meet. And that's the intent. Only the core team will know. They will inform others that need to know based on concerns that come up within those respective meetings, and they'll let folks know. But it's our responsibility to make sure that we protect everyone at the institution, and a behavior intervention team was part of what we needed to move forward with. The EPCC Social Services and Mental Health Center, that is moving forward. Dr. Mitchell and her team realized that the mental health concerns that permeate throughout not just higher education, but our community as well as all communities. And we want to make sure that we have that available to our folks. They're moving forward in launching this. We have a tentative start date of this fall. They're going to provide individual as well as group therapeutic services, supportive environment for the college student body. You see the types of therapy from short-term focused therapy to crisis intervention kinds of therapy. Again, initiatives that we need to move forward, and can't thank Dr. Mitchell and her team for moving these forward. We're going to relaunch our Veteran Resource Center and Lounge. The plan is to reactivate that this fall. Again, if you have ideas, if you have folks that may want to be a part of this, please email Dr. Mitchell if you're interested in participating. But we're going to move forward with relaunching this, and so look forward to that moving in the right direction. Our transition to Ultra Complete, our Blackboard Learn. Ms. Luz Cadena and her team, all of our Blackboard courses and organizations are now in Blackboard Lean Ultra. We have over 1,000 users that have been certified from the spring of 2020 through this summer of 2023. Training will continue every semester, so if you're not trained up and you need to be, know that that will be available to you, but I cannot thank them enough for moving this forward. Another initiative Dr. Mitchell and her team are leading is a statewide course sharing pilot. So part of what I'll talk about later in this presentation is about House Bill 8. And just we're moving forward. That went into effect on September 1st. But part of that was shared services. And so we're looking at a course sharing pilot. We are the last of the initial cohort that will move forward. We wanted to learn from everyone else, and so I thought that was wise. But we're one of the Texas community colleges that were selected to pilot a new statewide course sharing system for the 23-24 academic year. So this will start in the second mini-mester of this fall, but we look forward to the great work that they're leading. Ms. Lucia Rodriguez and the family-friendly campus teams, again, I had indicated earlier, we have these up and running at each of our 5 campuses. So cannot thank them enough for moving forward with this. This is a place for students, for student parents to study and meet. It's a 2-generation approach to child-parent study areas and child-parent learning activities and events. We look forward to that. You see that they have all of the needs that these parents may need, lactation rooms, et cetera. And so these are wonderful. I've visited most of these. They're wonderful spaces for parents and children to learn together in. And we also understand that sometimes you have to have that 2-generation approach. Mom or dad can't study if the child isn't taken care of. Our student success academic tutoring, again, Ms. Rodriguez and her team, on campus, they're available Monday through Friday. Online, they're available 7 days a week. We had over 19,000 tutoring sessions that took place in 22-23. And so cannot thank them for, again, providing the support that our students need to be successful. We'll continue to provide these, and this was one of the areas that blossomed during the pandemic. I mean, they were offering tutoring from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily. So again, we're available to our students when they need us. Our faculty-student engagement with success supports, the Tejano virtual events they had 82 different sessions. We had nearly 1,300 attendees. That was during the 22-23 year. In spring 21 to summer 23, we reached almost 8,300 student responses. So again, an effort for us to make sure that we're available to all of our students. The Association of College and University Educators want to congratulate our 31 faculty who earned the AQ Pin of completion and the nationally recognized certification in effective online teaching. So you see the faculty there, each of them with their medallions. Kudos to them, and cannot thank them enough for providing that professional development opportunity for themselves to become better in the classroom. It distinguishes EPCC faculty for their commitment to educational excellence. The pinning ceremony was held this summer. Our Pasos program, again, continues to move forward, celebrates our role as the college of the community. The Community Cariño team adopts a nonprofit to support each year, and then you see for 22-23 the opportunity for the Homeless Women's Resource Center was sponsored. So cannot thank them for the great work that they continue to move forward with. Our libraries continue to do great work. We had 46,000 print resources and 821,000 online resources available to the college community. You see the multitude of incredible operations that the libraries continue to host, from answering 46,000 questions to hosting 152,000 people that visited our libraries. The Molina Foundation book grants, we continue to move forward with this. We received our 5th book grant to promote families, literacy, and reading together. We received over 57,000 books. Ms. Laura Lee Ambris received these 2 full trailer trucks loads. The estimated cost of these, or estimated value of these, is nearly $650,000. So kudos to all of our librarians, Ms. Ambris, for receiving these particular resources. Our library continues to move forward. They received a grant, a $7,000 literacy grant from the Public Libraries Association. That was to promote digital literacy. Again, Ms. Ambris was awarded a second phase grant for $6,000 to continue the efforts in the summer of 2023. And then we need to mention that our Northwest Library had the 20th anniversary and Children's Summer Program. This is the Jenna Welsh and Laura Bush Community Library. again, hosted that 20th anniversary in April. You see that 52 classes were offered, 318 children and teens participated, and nearly 1,200 duplicated data participated during those events. So kudos to them, great job. Our first year experience, Sandra Lujan and her team, they continue to move forward. Over 5 academic years, our first year experience centers, you see the data, and it's been recognized as a bellwether finalist for 2023. This is one of the top 10 nationally recognized programs. You see that on retention, it's a 10%. It is a 10% difference. On persistence, it's 14%. Academic standing, 9% positive. Course completion, a 9% positive. And then graduation rates, looks like, I can't even see it. Thank you, Dr. Smith. 3. I'll have to borrow your glasses. 3%. So again, shows the impact of these particular programs, and so can't thank Ms. Lujan and the team for continuing to move forward with our first year experience centers. Our computing grants and projects 1 and 2, this is a $50,000 Microsoft grant on Hack the Border, Cyber Camp, Coach Edition. Dr. Christian Servin and Ms. Nadia Karachev continue to move forward with this. The National Science Foundation provided a $300,000 grant for the project titled Developing Computational Adversarial Thinking, Bridging Technical Skills, Training, and Academic Coursework. Again, an opportunity for us to engage students and to engage them into things that sometimes are nefarious. These are for the good reasons. Showing them how to hack for a purpose, how to ensure and be able to move these pieces forward. Our Tejano Flex Learning Program, Dr. Maisha Pego and her team continue to move forward with competency-based education. We have 8-week online courses. There's been 280 students who have successfully completed CBE courses, 19 CBE courses that are currently available, 45 additional CBE courses that will be developed over the next year. We're not waiting. We see what's coming. We're going to continue to move forward with this, and we anticipate that by the fall of 2024 that we will have full competency-based education degree plans available. Our Small Business Development Center, Ms. Audrey Murufo and her team, they served over 540 clients. The total capital infusion into our economy was about $14.1 million. They had 167 training events, and they trained nearly 2,200 attendees. So again, something that we provide to the entire community through our Small Business Development Center. Our Contract Opportunity Center, Mr. Armendariz and his team continue to move forward. These moved forward during the pandemic online. Obviously, we're seeing more face-to-face now. We had 288 businesses that were counseled, 2,007 counseling hours, 160 clients received awards, and then you see the total amount, $371.7 million. Over 8,000 jobs were either created or retained as a result of these initiatives. So cannot thank Mr. Armendariz and his team for the great work. Our faculty development mini grant, our architecture professor, Josue Munoz, he led a 2022 summer camp in which our students learned to turn papel picado into 3D acrylic pieces at the EPCC market space. Again, want to congratulate them. This was the first ever architecture summer camp that was made possible by our EPCC faculty professional development mini grants. Some national exposure for the college as well. Dr. Manuela Gomez and the Philosophy Club, they were featured on Philosophy Talk, which is a nationally syndicated radio program that was created through Stanford University professors, and their episode focused on Mexican philosophy. So want to congratulate and provide the kudos for that. Again, an ability for us to impact at the national level. Let's talk a little bit about Dr. Penley and her team and the great work that research, accreditation, and planning are doing. Our strategic plan, the 22-23 area plans, they're impacting each of the respective goals. You see that no goal is impacted less than 56 plans. I want to highlight, obviously, Goal 2, which is driving student success. That has 90 plans that are focused on that. And so I want to provide kudos to each and every one of you for the area plans that you submit. They're important. This is part of our accreditation process. It shows that we learn, that we do, we make adjustments based on how we learn and we move forward. In addition, Dr. Penley and her team are connecting the dots for student success work. You see that Ms. Bell is leading the Student Success Core team. Dr. Penley is our liaison for Achieving the Dream. And then Ms. Bell is also our liaison or the lead for the Texas Pathways. Again, all in an effort to make sure that all of these are connected to our strategic plan. Our KPIs. These are on our dashboard. I encourage each of you to take a look at them. We measure this and we look at these on a regular basis. They are anywhere from entry through progress through completion. And I would go out there and look at how we're doing, how we're moving forward. Here's some selected KPI results. And so I'll go over a couple of them. Enrollment, obviously, you saw that 2021 is the first year of the pandemic, and we saw some declines in 21, 22, and fortunately, we're starting to see those turn back around in 22, 23. You saw the impact on the students that are completing 30 hours in the first year as well. But you'll see the annual awards. We saw an impact. Obviously, 2021, we were amongst the highest number of graduates that we've seen. We saw an impact in 21, 22. I'm happy to say that we've seen that turn back around in 22, 23. So we're starting to see our number of degrees and certificates go back up. That's a tribute to each and every one of you and the great work that you do. Our graduation rates as well. Full-time students within that 150% of graduation time continues to move up as well. So again, we felt it in the first year of the pandemic. We're seeing a rebound now. Now the key becomes, how do we accelerate and go faster? Never sacrificing rigor, always raising the bar. I know there's been a lot of news on accreditation. Fortunately, the news has all been good for us. And so we have maintained our accreditation, and that is an ongoing effort. But our decennial reaffirmation of accreditation was a success. Again, thanks to each and every one of you. I want to congratulate each and every member of the college team. I want to congratulate specifically Dr. Penley, Mary Beth Hahn, as well as Dr. Quiroz, who leads our QEP. This is not easy work. And so for us to be able to go forward without any outstanding recommendations or any findings was a real relief for me, and it should be a point of pride for each of you. Our campus improvement projects, they continue to move forward. Dr. Huerta and the campus improvement teams continue to move. These projects are funded through our office, and really it's not through my office. It's Mr. Flores who finds those resources, Vice President Flores, and provides those to the Office of Institutional Effectiveness. But you see the kinds of projects that they worked on, from the ASC, from the culinary arts student benches to Mission, having the canopies, Northwest, the greenhouse, the Rio Grande campus, the library student living space, the Trans Mountains, the children's library reading area, and the Valle Verde campus, power charging umbrellas and tables, all the different things that they move forward and fund. So I want to thank Dr. Huerta and her team on moving those forward. Our virtual data forums, these continue to move forward as well. They're hosted by institutional research. You see from Module 1, Let's Talk Data, all the way through Module 4, Research Design and IRB. Again, want to provide the kudos and thanks for these moving forward. Again, the more we're into the data, the better we get. The better we're able to see what our data is and then implement initiatives that can impact that data successfully. Our climate survey. Again, want to thank each and every one of you and the respondents. You see that all of these are passing scores. Obviously, you need to continue to work on them, but from 92.3% that have work satisfaction for themselves to an acknowledgement that we have a focus on student success, over 93% of us. So again, thrilled that we're at the level that we are. We'll continue to work hard to make sure that we move this forward. Dr. Quiroz, who I mentioned earlier, our quality enhancement plan, now you have to remember, find your way, connect, discover, and succeed. I look at those. We've almost doubled the number of district-wide first-year experience advisor sessions. We've had over 33 career day events that have had over 1,800 students who have participated. 85 completed a request to promote forums, and then you see over 1,900 career reflection assignment survey responses. Again, these are important for us to be able to measure how we're doing with this particular plan. We will have to report these at the 5-year mark, which is only 4 years from now. And so we'll continue to move forward. So thank you, Dr. Quiroz, and the entire QEP team. Let's talk a little bit about Dr. Mo and her team, as I make sure that I don't drink out of AVP Primizic's bottle. You have a bottle here. A bottle of water, by the way. So let's talk a little bit about our marketing and the great work that our marketing. I'm sure you've seen the television commercials. I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days. I'm sure you've seen it on all the social media sites, etc. This is a wonderful, and I cannot thank Jim Heine and the team, really focused on students ensuring their belongingness. You'll notice keywords, and I'll touch on those shortly, but our belongingness for students, helping them feel that they belong here, showing them that we're going to help them find their success and achieve their dreams, from smaller class sizes to the most affordable college in the region. Notice we don't say that we're cheaper than anyone else. We are the most affordable college tuition in this region. Again, making sure that our students feel that they belong on our campuses. We also wanted to talk about the top 5 reasons to attend EPCC. From your success is our priority, to learn more so you can earn more, and everything in between. Again, I cannot thank Dr. Mo and Mr. Heine and their teams for these great spots. I see them regularly, and we want to build that kind of pride in our institution. Mr. Elliott and his grants management team, they continue to do great work. We've had 84% approval rating. They have submitted 51 grants. 43 of those 51 were awarded, and they total over $8.5 million. So these are resources that we need, and if we didn't have a great team in the grants management office, we wouldn't have these resources. So many kudos and thanks to Mr. Elliott and his team. Our foundation, Dr. Gross and her team, they raised over $187,000 in scholarships that were awarded. They raised nearly $268,000 this year. 183 students received scholarships. Since 2014, just under 2,000 students have received awards. And 153 foundation scholarships awardees graduated this year. So kudos to Dr. Gross and her team. They've done a great job. And speaking of which, if you don't have your tickets, I'd encourage you to buy your tickets to Fajitas and Margaritas. That's their signature event. And it is a wonderful event. Last year they raised $43,000, and that was the first one that we had since 19 because of the pandemic. So it was a great success, and we really look forward to this one. Again, cannot thank Dr. Gross and her team for putting this signature foundation event forward. Let's talk about Mr. Flores and the great team that he has in finance and administrative operations and the work that they're leading. So these are our revenue sources. This is up to date. This is our budget as of September 1. We operate a little over $158 million budget. State appropriations finally went up. House Bill 8, again, I'll touch on that shortly, but that's about $40.7 million. Our tuition and fees, we anticipate, will be about 24% of our budget, about $37.5 million. Property taxes, not because we're increasing taxes. In fact, I'll touch on that shortly. But property taxes now are $70 million of our budget. You see self-supporting, overhead, and other income as well. And then here's how we expend those resources. You see from instruction, pure faculty at about almost $56 million, all the way over to self-supporting programs at about $3 million. And you see that where our resources go. Here's how we spend those resources. And you'll see those respective areas as well. You see faculty and staff salaries, you see equipment, you see travel. When I first started at the college, that was an interesting one. It's less than 1%. It's less than 0.8% of our entire budget. And it's actually probably going to continue to go up as people start going to conferences more often. But it'll never be more than about 1% of our budget. Here's tax. This is what I really wanted to focus on. So we're just over 4% of anyone's tax bill. We're 4 pennies of anyone's tax bill. You see, this is where ISDs are about 40%. You see the city of El Paso is at about 31%. You see the counties a little over 15%. You see University Medical Centers about 8.5%. And you see old, lowly El Paso Community College at about 4%. We are by far the best value that our taxpayers pay from my perspective. And we have not touched taxes for 5 years. This is the 6th year. So again, kudos to the board for how serious they take it. And I'm thrilled that our tax base continues to grow. That's good for us. It allows us to continue to bring our tax rate down. So if anyone complains about taxes, it's not the college. Major revenue sources. I want you to pay one specific, and I know this is a hard graph to read. It's hard for me to read, so I'll look down at my binder. But the green bar, so if you can just focus on the green bar, that's state appropriations. So the magenta, these are hard colors for me to pronounce. The magenta color is the largest one. That's our taxes. Again, not because we've raised taxes. In fact, you can see that our tax rate has continued to come down. It's that our property has grown. The number of people that live, the number of people that have businesses and or homes. But the green bar is state appropriations. I guess for you, it's not green, it's teal. There you go, thank you. It's teal. On my printout, it's green. But the teal bar, it's finally taller than the blue bar for the first time in 13 years. So that means the state is footing a larger portion than our students are footing for the first time in 13 years. That's a huge achievement, and I'll touch more on that shortly. But I do want to make sure that everyone sees that, and it's a good development from the state. Vice President Flores, AVP Zuniga, and their team, these are important parts of it. Every time we receive a dollar from anywhere, we're subject to accountability, we're subject to audits, et cetera, and we've done those successfully. We had a successful desk review of the college's annual financial report. That was done by the coordinating board and the Texas Workforce Commission. Again, it shows our compliance with regulatory and contractual requirements. And so kudos to them for ensuring that we spend our resources appropriately. The annual financial report, the AFR committee, was chaired by Ms. Ana Zuniga, our AVP. She chaired the AFR committee, and so want to congratulate her, want to thank her for representing the institution. The committee is tasked with reviewing any changes in governmental accounting standards. So these are important, incredibly important, that take place throughout the state of Texas, and for us to be not only at the table, but to be leading those discussions is incredibly important. I want to congratulate and thank Audrey Ortegon and Milena Field and Employee Relations. They produced and presented 17 training sessions on Title IX and Title VII grievances complaints. They developed a tracking mechanism for Title IX and for our student employee issues. And they also developed Title IX hearing procedures. These are important federal regulations. We will make sure that we're in compliance with all of these, but want to thank them for the great work that they do. Our annual staff retreat, obviously we had a slight pause due to the pandemic, but we got that up and running again. This was our 30th year of human resource development, celebrating those 30 years of the annual staff development. They traveled in April to San Diego. Looks like they had a wonderful time, learned a lot, certainly excited about that. Want to thank them for that. Dr. Linda Brown and the Leadership Academy, they continue to move forward. This is our 20th year of having the leadership. We've had over 850 graduates. You see the theme, awaken your genius, cultivate and your unlimited potential. That is a piece that they're moving forward with. Again, the 20th anniversary celebration will take place in the spring of 2024. Artificial intelligence will be a theme, and they're celebrating the past as well as anticipating the future. It's here. We need to make sure that we're on top of it. The physical plant, again, great work that Mr. Lobato and his team continue. You see all of the different, these are just a highlight of projects that have been completed from the ASC addition of exterior lighting, Mission, Del Paso campus, the boiler replacement, the Rio Grande campus fire alarm upgrades and replacements, Trans Mountain, the carpet in the common areas, the Valle Verde rooftop for and AC units replacement at ATC. Different projects that have been completed, so cannot thank them enough for the great work that they do as well, in particular during this very hot summer. Mr. Fernandez and his team at Information Technology, they continue to do great work. EPCC TV, Mr. Lara and his team, you see all the productions of the 2022-23 broadcasts, the in-studio productions, anything from Keeping It Social with Christian Salas, Philosophic Dialogue of La Frontera, Mature Living, there was 30 episodes broadcast, all the way to Chef Share. In addition, these were the in-studio productions. They also had on location or outside the studio productions, 14 of those from fall and spring commencement exercises to the 20th anniversary of the Jenna Welsh and Laura Bush Community Library, all the way to traveling with our team for the Bellwether College finalists. So again, cannot thank EPCC TV for the great work that they do. Professional development, system administration continues to move forward. I'm going to highlight 3 different areas. Professional development opportunities at Dell Technologies World, where 2 of our system administrators were able to go to that and learn at that particular area, as well as some significant initiatives, the multi-factor authentication, as well as the mobile device management. I know it was not easy for me either. But I figured it out. I had to have it. I could never bring it up, so I had it text me the codes. But I was able to get it done. Our open computer lab and media services, Mr. Ramos and his team, they continue to do great work as well. You know, media services has been involved with the implementation of technology in each of those respective areas, from the Valle Verde podcast studio to the Rio Grande Pharmacy program to the Trans Mountain Language Lab upgrade. And again, open computing and media services, they continue to move forward. The ASC boardroom, right across the hall, you'll see that the equipment has been updated. It's state-of-the-art technology, includes LED walls, a control room, and PTZ cameras. So cannot thank them enough for the great work that they continue to lead. Along the way, our Technology Resource Center as well. They have provided at least 1 workshop each day of the EPCC faculty, staff, and students in the area of Microsoft Excel, Outlook, OneNote. You see all of those areas. Hundreds of EPCC individuals have taken advantage of the training. And later this fall, there'll be a new multimedia studio that will open with podcasts and video studios available for our staff, faculty, and our students. Aaron Flores and his team and the web development team, they continue to do great work. They successfully upgraded Google Analytics 4. They have a cross-platform tracking. They've moved forward with AI-powered insights for the institution, as well as a privacy-focused design. You see that 467 website-related requests have been completed since the 21st of January of this year. So the demand will continue to rise, and they continue to meet those demands. A little bit more about the great work that our web development team is doing. You see the new tool that's called Email Signature Creator. This is a new EPCC email signature creator tool that you can utilize for your emails. You see that it increases brand awareness, it improves the professionalism. If I can advise everyone to utilize it, go out there and try it. Again, it helps improve our customer service as well. So kudos to them for developing that particular area. Abraham Hubal and his team, the Enterprise Computing TouchNet is our payment gateway. And I know we had an issue with TouchNet last week, but on average, they have 3,300 transactions that occur monthly. So remember, all those students that used to come and pay in person, many of them are doing it online now. And so certainly appreciate the great work that has come forward with that. In addition, enterprise computing continues to move forward. The IT reporting and analytics team, they created reports to help the admissions office and the health program counselors advise over 1,800 students. You see what those reports do, everything from program requirements for ranking all the way through official ranking results. So kudos to them for the great work that they're leading in that area. Now, the legislature. So every 2 years, our legislature meets in the Pink Building in Austin, and we all worry a little bit on what could pass, what does pass, and then we're hopeful at times as well. Texas had an inordinate amount of resources, and fortunately they did some wise things with those resources. So let's first talk about House Bill 8. So really we're looking at redesigning the way that our community colleges are funded. So this slide is now dated. Texas now has the 8th largest economy in the world. So our state, if it was its own country, would have the 8th largest economy in the world. You see that we're the #1 exporter, and we have been for 20 years in a row. Actually, there's now more than 15 million Texans that are part of our civilian labor force. You see that we're home to well over 50 Fortune 500 companies. And so Texas is a big state. We need to make sure that we provide that skilled workforce that our companies and business and industry need. And so it was somewhat of a perfect storm. So the Dallas Fed produced this report, All Eyes on Texas, community college focus on preparing the workforce of tomorrow. And in this report, and it's available online, you can go and read it, they anticipate that more than 4 million jobs that the state expects to add in the next 15 years will require a bachelor's degree or more, but there's a significant amount of jobs that they call middle tier. I don't know anything middle that we produce. I believe that we produce high skilled everything. But this is the term that they choose to use, and these will require more than a high school diploma, but less than a baccalaureate degree. So everything worked out where we needed to focus on community colleges. 93% of all career technical education degrees and certificates are produced by the 50 community colleges. We account for about 43% of the total enrollment in the state of Texas. 94% of all dual credit students attend dual credit through the community colleges. 69% of baccalaureate degree earners have some transfer work on their transcripts. 34% have 30 hours or more. So for us, by the way, 74% of UTEP graduates have our coursework on their transcripts. In addition, this was one of the questions that was asked to me, so how are you all going to focus on outcomes? Well, we've been focused on outcomes. So in 2001, the 50 community colleges produced 37,000 degrees and certificates. 10 years later, we produced 77,000, or an increase of 107%. 10 years later, we produced 124,000 degrees and certificates, or an increase of 61%. So we have been focused on outcomes for a significant period of time. And so we're certainly thrilled that this is where the state headed. We're funded through 3 revenue sources: state appropriations, local taxes, and property taxes and tuition and fees. Obviously, state appropriations is the bottom line. That one continued to go down. Tuition and fees was remaining rather steady. Local taxes was the one that was going up significantly. In some cases, because some districts increased their taxes. In our case, because our tax base rose. So it takes us from a static formula. We go from a student enrollment kind of funding mechanism to an outcome, to a dynamic form. And so it transforms that static and merely redivides the pie to one that provides colleges with predictable funding based on outcomes. 95% of this formula will be based on degrees and certificates that we produce. So how are we going to implement it? How are we already implementing it? So again, 95% of the state fundings will be focused on outcomes. TEOG is affordability for students. That's the community college funding, state funding, our state financial aid program. Pre-pandemic, it was funding 18% of eligible students. They say 28%, not because they were funding more, but because our enrollments fell. So they were funding 28%. This will take it up to 70% of those students that qualify will receive TEOG grants. And then finally, the investment in college capacity. This is shared services as well as base tier funding. Those are the key components. Had a meeting with the commissioner this morning, a Zoom meeting with the commissioner and several other presidents and chancellors to go over some of the new rules that are coming forward. Financial aid for swift transfer was one of the rules that we talked about this morning. As you see, shared services, performance tier, base tier. We will never qualify for base tier. This is 5% of the funding. This is going to go to 23 colleges that have small tax bases that don't produce enough in those tax bases. So they'll receive a leveling up kind of funding. It ranges between $30,000 up to about $3 million, depending on the institution. And then finally, the Community College Advisory Committee will move forward. I chair the Community College Advisory Committee, first in an interim capacity during the legislative session. Now I've received an appointment to serve as the chair of that committee for 3 years. So we're moving forward with the implementation. You see it from rulemaking all the way to planning and sustainability. Here's where we are. We moved forward. Actually, it wasn't May. It was probably March to July, where we were moving forward with establishing emergency rules. We took those to the coordinating board. So not the agency, but the board, just like the Board of Trustees. So Ms. Schwartz from El Paso is one of the board members. So we had to go and present to them, the coordinating board, and then Ray Martinez, the president and CEO for TAC, and I testified in front of them. They approved all of those emergency rules on the 22nd of August. Someone's walking above me. On the 22nd of August, they approved them in total. So the emergency rules are in place. Now from August to January, we're moving forward with the next set of rules. Those were emergency rules. Now we have to establish the longer term rules. We'll move forward with those. In January, the coordinating board will adopt those. And then in March, we start the process for the 24-25 rules. So this is work that will continue to move forward. The strategic plan, Building a Talent Strong Texas, is focused on credentials of value. Right now, every single credential that we produce is a credential of value. In addition, they're also looking at high demand credentials. So I'll give you 2 examples. Nursing, we all realize that one. Welding, another one. And there's a lot in between. And so we'll continue to move forward and produce those. Dr. Smith and his team are looking at ways that we can expand those from institutional courses leading to certificates, to occupational skills awards, to level 1 certificates, all the way through our associate degrees. So those were really good bills. That was a really good bill that the legislature passed. Senate Bill 18 could have been a bad bill. Remember, I'll remind everyone, this is where the legislature was to eliminate tenure. They codified tenure. So they made tenure the law. And so we're thrilled with that. I can't thank Dr. Smith, Human Resources, as well as our legal counsel, Dr. Burnham, and the Faculty Senate for their partnership in moving forward with this. They have 2 college procedure updates are underway to align with the bill's mandates. DDA1 is tenure review and recommendations, and DLA3 is full-time faculty evaluation. So our faculty will have an opportunity to provide feedback on those proposed changes once they're released for a 21-day district-wide review. So I'd encourage everyone to go out there, provide us the feedback that you feel that we need. But I feel very fortunate that they went from wanting to eliminate tenure to actually codifying it. Yes, it's going to be more work. We're going to have to do additional things that we didn't have to do, but at least we codified it. I know everyone has lots of concerns over SB 17, diversity, equity, and inclusion, or the elimination of those. You heard me earlier talk about belonging. And so, we have to be strategic, and we have to make sure that all students feel this. And we've always been committed to facilitating the success of all students. We'll continue to disaggregate the data. If we see a segment of our student body that is not performing, whether it be African American females or white males, we'll implement an initiative to facilitate their success. We will not have an Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. That office will no longer exist. Those individuals will continue to work at the institution. They'll continue to provide good feedback and provide the resources that we need, but it doesn't change our mission at all. We're going to continue to focus on student success. Now, legal counsel continues to go through this. This law will not go into effect until January 1. So legal counsel continues to review, and I'll share with you our own legal counsel as well as legal counsel through the Texas Association of Community Colleges. They've provided feedback on their interpretation of the law, and it's pretty stringent. And so we'll have to make sure that our commitment to our students, our faculty, and staff does not change. Now, we will have to make sure that we adhere to the law. Whether it's a good law or a bad law, it is still the law. So we'll make sure that we adhere to it, but our commitment to our students, our faculty, and staff will not change. And so we'll work with legal counsel, we'll continue to ask the questions that we need to ask. Can we have this? Can we have that? You notice nothing has changed because the law doesn't go into effect until January 1. So we'll continue to celebrate all of the initiatives, all of the inclusion initiatives, I have to choose my words wisely, that we have at the institution, and we'll continue to move forward. And then as we get closer to January, we'll continue to provide additional guidance on, yes, we can do that. No, we have to tweak that. No, we can't do that. I'll share with you one piece. I got a letter from the governor's office asking that we help sponsor a women's Hall of Fame. And I found it interesting because as an institution of higher ed, based on the way that I read SB 17, we wouldn't be able to have a Women's Hall of Fame. But the governor's office is asking us to sponsor a state Women's Hall of Fame, but they're not an institution of higher ed. So this really is focused on institutions of higher ed. So we will work on this. We'll continue to go forward. We'll continue to get legal counsel's guidance on it. We'll continue to take it to the Board of Trustees, get them to pass anything that we need to have passed. But again, it doesn't change our commitment to each other, to our faculty or staff, or our students, and the success of our students. We'll continue to move forward with that. Let's talk a little bit about recognitions and some of the great things that are occurring. This was the 18th year in a row that our college has been recognized as a leader in education for Hispanic students nationally. Not in our region, not in our state, but nationally. And so we're thrilled with that. That was published in February. We have a very attractive student, and then me. Yeah. We're also designated as a military-friendly school, and we were recognized with the 2023-2024 Military-Friendly School designation by Victory. So certainly thrilled that we care about our students, our men and women in uniform who have served us so well. We want to make sure that we serve them well as students as well. The annual employee recognition dinner was held on the 5th of May. You see our honorees from Dean Badillo all the way to Rosemary Shafino, a professional staff member. You see all of those folks that were provided awards, and so certainly thrilled for them. Couple of things. Judge Haggerty is the Western Region Trustee of the Year. So this is our region. Texas somehow is in the Western region. Judge Haggerty was chosen for his 30 years of continuous service, so he's the Western Region Award winner, and Miss Pam Payne is the Western Region. Yeah, absolutely. Give Pam a hand. She is the Board Staff Member Award for the Western Region. Obviously, I'm partial to Pam. I can't thank her enough. And Judge Haggerty has done a great job in his 30 years. We're hopeful we'll see if they win the national awards, but they're already the Western Region Award winners, and so thrilled for both of them, and congratulations to each of them. I'd remind you to save the date. Spring faculty development is going to be on the 8th of February. I'd also remind you that I will have town halls, and they'll be smaller, and we'll have interaction and question and answers at those. And with that, I cannot thank you enough. It is so good to see each and every one of you in person. Those of you that are attending virtually on your campuses, it is good to see you. I was on almost all of the campuses earlier. They feel great. Students are excited. Students are on campus. Students are ready to learn. They're ready to start with their future, and each of you facilitates that future for them. So thank you for the great work that you do.